What's been on my mind? I wanna make up right now. I wanna make up right. Hi guys, welcome to Self Made. It's your host Andres.
I'm Nash.
Don't know, Sakim.
Today's topic will be talking about toxic relationships in general. So we're going based off of two topics, but we're mixing them together because they're very similar. So I'd like to thank my girlfriend Amanda for these topics. So based off of toxic relationships, do you think toxic relationships um, are like I don't know, in a sense, like, is it, how do you know, how do you know, like, when you're in or if you are in a toxic relationship? Like, I would say,
So,
like, when you have to, like, continue, like, I don't know, in a sense, everyone wants to know, like, your every move, even though, you're, like, you communicate and everything with your significant other, but, like, they'll, like, outside of that part, they'll still, like, check in and be like, yo, where are you? How come you haven't been home in like the past 2 minutes or whatever like that? Like they're just checking up to see like where you are, like every step that you take. I don't know. Like it's
but
I've never been in one, so I don't know.
okay. So, based on Google, I'm gonna use Google
You
because
use Google?
I'm gonna use Google to answer
Okay.
your question because you know I think some of these things people consider as toxic and some people don't. So this is just
Yeah,
from Google.
it's very biased. It's a very biased question slash
So
topic.
so I'm gonna give you five. So one
Okay.
is one sign of a toxic relationship is you don't feel safe. So if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship and you don't feel safe with the person you're with, according to Google, that's you are in a toxic relationship. Another one is you have a bad or non-existent communication between a person. So no communicating whatsoever, about the important things, the conversation that should be you guys should be having, and just causing arguments eventually. Another one is you feel neglected and exploited. So, you know, I feel like this one. I feel like this one. I wouldn't say this one is biased.
Yeah, because like if you're if you're talking to like your girlfriend or your boyfriend and it's always one sided. And like it's like what's the sense of me being in this relationship if it's one sided, you know? It's like you're putting in all the work when they're not. Or even like no trying to see at least if they can put in the effort to do anything like that. So it's
And then
yeah, I get that where those those conclusions probably conclusions, but like um those statements come from.
yeah,
Andres, what do you think?
I think toxic relationships, like for example, for me, it's like if you lie constantly to the point that I don't trust you, because I feel like it becomes a habit. Because I feel like when people lie a lot, it becomes a habit, whether it's a little white lie or a big one. Like I feel like it becomes a habit to the point that I don't feel like I trust you anymore. And once you do that, I feel like that creates a toxic environment. And like I was saying like earlier, I was telling Akeem like I feel like in every relationship, whether it's like a healthy one or not, I feel like there's toxic things that happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship that you're in is a toxic one. It just means that there has been toxic events that have happened. Like I've been in one before, and then I've also been in one where toxic things happen. It doesn't make the whole thing toxic, but it's just certain events and certain things that creates
Yeah,
that environment for
certain key
me.
traits.
Yeah, like the lying thing, man. The lying thing for me is just a big one. Like I hate liars. Like
Mm,
it's unattractive. It becomes a habit. Like I said, like you start to do it out of even like without even knowing that you're doing it.
yeah, because you're trying to keep up with your own lie. So, like, you have to believe your own lie yourself, you know?
Yeah, and then you start adding stuff to it to become like it just becomes a huge lie that it's just unnecessary. Have you guys ever been
Exactly.
in a relationship where there's like signs of like it might become a toxic relationship if you don't like put the brakes to it? Like, have you ever seen any signs or anything in your current one or in the past relationship that you've been in?
In the past ones, yes, because like depending on what the situation was, if I had to like, I'd always be the one to call, and then if we'd talk on the phone, it'd be cut short just for like an excuse or like something that could be done later instead of like just continuing the conversation or just to keep in touch and see like where it goes. Not like just keeping in touch like throughout the day. It was never like that for me. It was always just like I talk for like maybe five, not even 5 minutes, probably less than that. Talk for like 2, 3 minutes, and then the conversation's done, and I don't hear from them for like the next what 2, 3 days. Like I didn't like that, so I took myself out of it. You always have to be quote unquote the bigger person to like put the brakes on it and then either sort it out or end the relationship.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but like here's the thing though, like say you're in one and like you're completely like in love with the person and it started out fine, like it started out healthy, but then you're starting to see certain like traits of toxic person, and you have a conversation and you open about it, this and that. Like, how do you know when you have to end it? Whether you like say you're like ready to like say you're like, oh, this person is the one, like I'm ready to like marry this person in the future, like this is whatever. How do you know? Like, how do you know when you should end the relationship?
Well, if the person
Well,
is not being receptive to what you're saying, or they're not trying to understand that, okay, this is becoming toxic, or these signs of are these signs of you or whatever the relationship, or the relationship is becoming toxic. Like if they're not trying to, acknowledge or take accountability, I feel like, that at that point you should just part. That's just me, you know. At that point, I just feel like you should just take accountability on both sides and just find a sweet spot and work through it if it's something that both partners want.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Like it's like you keep saying, like, like it's all about like communication. Like if you're against whatever your partner is saying and you're like not like nah, like I don't like I hear what you're saying, but I don't really care and I don't see it that way. So like I've had that, like I've had people where I'm just like, yo, like this is what's like happening. Like I don't mean to attack anybody, but I'm like, hey, like this is what's going on, and people are like so defensive about it. It's like, no, like you know what, like you're wrong, and that's it. And you just forget that you even had that conversation.
it's definitely like something that you're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to like have a talk with your partner regarding like what the issue is and see if you guys can resolve it. But like give or take, like after a couple of conversations that you guys had, and you feel like it's still not working, like you guys are trying, and you've taken the time to actually like put the effort and the initiative into the relationship with like seeing where it could go and like giving them time, like everything takes time with like with everything, but like more so on like the problems in your relationship. And if you see no change, then it's gonna hurt you because you put a lot of effort into this versus the other person. So it's gonna hurt you a lot more when you're going through the breakup than the other person because they're probably gonna ask why, and then you're gonna tell them the reason, which is A, B, and C. But that's up
Hmm.
to them if they actually want to fix it, right? If
Yeah.
not, then exit the relationship and just find something better, or just take time to like rebuild yourself. And when the time is right, you'll be with someone that is better than your last.
Yeah. I think that sums up the topic in a perfect way. Do you guys have anything else that you guys want to add?
Just a lot of communication, um, and make sure that you're forward with your partner, anything that's wrong, And then also, if you're going out and stuff like that, make sure that you communicate with them, let them know where you're going, who you're going with, even though like you may not think that you need to tell them, sometimes even though you don't want to tell them, they don't they appreciate the fact that they would like to know what's going on in your life rather than you bring it up in a conversation and they don't remember you don't remember bringing it up to them and they're like, you never told me about this, and then that starts something. That could be also another toxic trait where you're supposed to tell them things and express what's going on in your life and what you're going to be doing today, but then you don't. So then when it comes up in a conversation between you two, he or she doesn't know what you're talking about because you didn't express that to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's one of those topics that definitely requires us to like speak for a long time about it, but we're trying to keep this like short. So we said the most we could. If you guys definitely want a part two, let us know. But I think that pretty much concludes our episode for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, on Spotify as well. Make sure you guys send us questions so we can answer them on the episode. Also send us topic ideas so we can definitely discuss them. Other than that, it's been your host Andres,
I'm Nash.
I'm Akeem.
and we'll see you guys in the next episode.